We will discuss about the anterior triangles. Anterior triangle, basically the neck divided into the two parts. It is quadrangular in shape, anteriorly and posteriorly, superiorly and inferiorly. The neck is divided into the two parts by the sternocleidomastoid muscles obliquely from posterior to anteriorly. The sternocleidomastoid, it divides the anterior triangle, lies anteriorly, and behind to the sternocleidomastoid it is called the posterior triangle. Anterior triangle, which is bounded by the anteriorly by the anterior midlines, posteriorly by the sternocleidomastoid muscles, and superiorly it is bounded by the mandible, lower border of the mandible, and from the angle of mandible to the mastoid process to draw the lines. Now the anterior triangle, it divided into the four triangle: submental triangle, digastric triangle, muscular triangle, and carotid triangle. Now we will discuss about the submental triangle. Here it is the mid sagittal section, so we will not completely see the submental triangle, but one sided. The submental triangle, it is the midline triangle. Anteriorly on each side it is bounded by the anterior belly of digastric. This is the anterior belly of the digastric. So opposite side, which is also anterior belly of digastric, and base, this is the hyoid bone. So base, which is formed by the hyoid bone, and apex, it is the symphysis menti. So the base of the submental triangle, which is formed by the hyoid bone, on each side it is bounded by the anterior belly of digastric, and apex, it is formed by the symphysis menti. The submental triangle, which is covered by the skin, superficial fascia, investing layer of deep cervical fascia, and the floor, which is formed by the mylohyoid muscle. You can see this is the mylohyoid muscles. So floor, which is formed by the mylohyoid muscles, and the content of the submental triangle, which is formed by the submental gland, sublingual gland, and submental lymph node, and there is a beginning of the anterior jugular veins. So beginning of the anterior jugular veins, submental lymph node, and submental sublingual gland are the content of the submental triangle. So the submental triangle, in short, it is bounded on each side by the anterior belly of digastric, both the sides, and base, which is formed by the hyoid bone, apex, which is the meeting point of the anterior belly of digastric anteriorly, it is called the symphysis menti, the floor, which is formed by the mylohyoid muscles, and content, which is formed by the submental lymph node, sublingual glands deeper insides, and the anterior jugular veins, which is begin, or submental veins, which become continuous as a submental anterior jugular veins. Now we will discuss about the digastric triangle. Digastric triangle, anteriorly and inferiorly, it is bounded by the anterior belly of the digastric. Posteriorly, it is bounded by the posterior belly of the digastric. You can see this is the posterior belly of digastric, and it is below to it there is a stylohyoid muscles. So anteriorly and inferiorly it is bounded by the anterior belly of digastric. Posteriorly and inferiorly it is bounded by the digastric muscles and styloid muscles. Base, which is formed by the inferior border of the mandible, and from the angle of mandible to the mastoid process you have to draw the lines. It is called the digastric triangle. So the superiorly it is bounded by the inferior border of the mandible. From the angle of mandible to the mastoid process you have to draw the lines, and anteriorly and inferiorly it is bounded by the anterior belly of digastric. Posteriorly and inferiorly it is bounded by the posterior belly of digastric along with its stylohyoid muscles. You can see. So anterior belly of digastric and mylohyoid muscles, which is supplied by the mylohyoid, now to mylohyoid. Here you can see this is the now to mylohyoid. You can see this is now to mylohyoid. Now the content of the digastric triangle, we will discuss about the content of the digastric triangle. You can see this is the first content. It is the submandibular lymph node. You can see this is the submandibular lymph node. This one is the submandibular gland, superficial part. Here you can see this is the facial vessels. Facial vessels, it gives the submental artery, and inside the deeper part you can see the submental here you can see this is the mylohyoid nerve. This is the mylohyoid nerve which supplies to the anterior belly of digastric, and it also supplies to the mylohyoid muscles. Posterior part of the digastric triangle, it contains the parotid glands. It also contains the external carotid artery, and the 9th, 10th and 11th cranial nerves, 11th, 10th and 11th, 11th and 12th cranial nerves, which lies inside the posterior part of the digastric triangles. We already finished the roof, content, boundaries of the digastric triangle. Now we will discuss about the floor. Anteriorly it is formed by the mylohyoid muscles. You can see, just reflect the submandibular gland. You can see there is a hyoglossus muscles deep, but we have not cleaned right now completely. And the posteriorly it is formed by the, just in front of the anterior belly of digastric, you can see the middle constrictor muscles. So this is the floor of the digastric triangle. Anteriorly mylohyoid, middle below to the submandibular gland hyoglossus muscles, and posteriorly middle constrictor muscles. So discuss about the carotid triangle. Anteriorly and superiorly, here you can see it is bounded by the posterior belly of digastric. Anteriorly and inferiorly it is bounded by the superior belly of the omoid, and posteriorly it is bounded by the anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid. This triangle, it is called the carotid triangle. It called the carotid because it is contained the carotid vessels. Now for the better visualizations, we will reflect the sternocleidomastoid muscles and we will see the carotid triangles. Now, which are the content inside the carotid triangles? The content inside the carotid triangle, you can see this is a common carotid artery. It bifurcates into the external and internal carotid artery. This is the external carotid artery. This one is the internal carotid artery. Behind it, you can see this is the vagus nerve. This one is the internal jugular veins. And posterior to the vagus, you can see there is a cervical sympathetic chain. You can see this is the cervical sympathetic chain. This is the superior cervical sympathetic ganglion. Here you can see it gives the lateral fibers to the coming from the, either it coming from the cranial nerves or it may coming from the C1 and C2 and C3 and C4 fibers. It is the superior cervical ganglion. The middle cervical ganglion, here you can see the fibers which are coming from the C5 and C6, and the most lower one, the part of the sympathetic chain, it makes the inferior cervical ganglion. Here you can see this is the inferior cervical ganglion. This is the enlargement. You can see this is the inferior cervical ganglion. Sometimes it is united with the first thoracic nerve and it enlarge and it is called the stellate ganglions. So this one is the inferior cervical ganglion, you can see. So interjugular veins, common carotid artery which bifurcates into the external carotid artery and internal carotid artery. External carotid artery gives the superior thyroid artery, it gives the lingual artery, it gives the posteriorly, it gives the occipital artery. You can see this is the occipital artery. And medially we will right now not seen, but the ascending pharyngeal artery. These are the branches which start from branches of the external carotid artery, but which is arise from the carotid triangle. You can see the ansa cervicalis. This is the ansa cervicalis. This one is the fibers which coming from the C2. Here you can see this is the C2 and C3 fibers. This one is the C3 third spinal nerve. Here you can see this is the fourth spinal nerve, and C2 and C3 united, it makes the inferior root of the ansa cervicalis. The C1 fibers which is come along with the hypoglossal nerve. Here you can see this is the hypoglossal nerve. The fiber of the C1 directly goes along with the hypoglossal and it innervate to the, here you can see this is the fiber of the C1 which directly innervate to the genioid and thyroid. So thyroid and gynoid, which is